This is Life Transformation Radio. Prepare to engage. Seatbelt activated. Download initiated. Your quantum journey of transformation begins in 3, 2, 1. Your quantum journey of transformation begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. Hi, I'm Rob Actis, best-selling author of The Law of Action, voice actor, business mindset coach, the podcast whisperer, and Mr. Action himself. Life Transformation Radio is heard in over 90 countries. Thank you for joining us from all around the world. So whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to Life Transformation Radio for some time, I want to personally thank you. Here at Life Transformation Radio, we are committed to share more about real life, love, the power of positivity, romance, and, of course, laughter. We care about helping others find their internal drive and purpose. We celebrate life's challenges and overcoming them. Please do us a favor, rate, review, and subscribe to Life Transformation Radio on your favorite podcast platform. And listen to us live on Mondays, just like you're doing right now, and Wednesdays with a special bonus episode on Thursday, recorded live on Clubhouse. Also, personal invitation from me to you. Please join us on Facebook in the Life Transformation Radio community. On the show, my guests are amazing people who are forces for good in the world around them and live a life of transformation. My guest today does just that. Today, Manny Cabo and I discuss overcoming adversity that life throws at you. If you want to persevere, to move on, have the patience to accept change, and find the purpose to live and inspire others, this is the show for you. Every once in a while, in the ever-competitive entertainment industry, a presence enters the scene that turns heads, opens eyes and ears, touches hearts, and makes a lasting impact on everyone they encounter. And today, my guest, that's the guy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Life Transformation Radio, my friend, Manny Cabo.
Hey, Rob. How are you, buddy? Thanks so much. It's a lot of fanfare for a bald guy in a microphone, but I'll take it.
Yeah, but I'm a bald guy with a microphone, too, so it's perfect right there.
I was just about to say that.
Thanks
for having me, brother.
We'll change the name of the show to Two Guys with a Bald Head and a Microphone.
Hey, it's got potential. It's got potential.
That's it. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, man. Listen, I'm alive. As you know, it's been a difficult 4 months since my dad passed from COVID. So believe me, every day that I am 6 feet above ground and breathing, I am beyond grateful for, my friend.
Well, I'm glad that you are recovering from that, and I'm sorry for your loss. It's a lot of people have experienced that during this pandemic, and my heart and my thoughts and my prayers go with you and your family.
Thank you so much, Rob. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. So I met Mr. Manny on Clubhouse in a room, and I just loved his vibe, man. I didn't even see a picture of him, but I loved his vibe and his energy, and I could feel him, and I got him. And I'm like, man, you are super cool. And I just know you have a story, and I am here to bring that story out today here on Life Transformation Radio. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's just start off. You know, the big elephant in the room, you got a 4-chair turn on The Voice. And that is not easy to do, my friend.
No, it's not. And you got to think of the elements prior to that, leading up to that point. You got to compete with about 70,000 other contestants from all over the country. It goes to show you that you have to bring forth your story. You got to stay true to yourself and just basically put forth your best foot forward, man. That's basically what it's all about, because people in the industry, they can smell BS a mile away. You just got to be true to yourself at the end of the day. And people thought I was crazy, but 4-chair turn. I did something right. That's all I know.
Well, you did something right. And so, let's go back a little bit. You said there's 70,000. So just tell me a little bit about what it took to lead up to that point, to get onto The Voice and have that 4-chair turn.
It's a great story because I was kind of coerced into doing it. A lot of my friends, I had a pretty good support group back in the day, including my family. They're like, why don't you go on the show? Me personally, I had some negative experiences with some other TV shows because, it's all about fabricating, and as well as I know, I'm preaching to the choir, perception is reality, and nothing on reality TV is real. Everything is planned. Everything is staged. So I was totally against fabricating any story, but The Voice was totally opposite. They loved what I was all about. They loved my message of positivity and incorporating collectivity and wanting to raise the vibration around everyone around me. And in this industry, that's a rarity. So I became great friends with the production staff. And, the rest was history, as they would say.
That's awesome. Okay. So take me back to when you made the decision. So how long have you been singing? And then just give me a little tour of Manny's life of transformation of singing. Did it start when you were just like a baby when you were born, or what happened? How did this all occur?
Somewhat. I got to tell you, Rob, I've been an underdog since even before I was born. Supposedly I was an abortion waiting to happen, and the doctor said that my parents shouldn't have me. My dad said, no, we're having this kid, and here I am 51 years later. And he's the one, which is why there's such a big void, because he's the one who introduced me and the reason why I became anything creative, whether it was singing, photography, being a podcast host, whatever. So as you can see, it's very difficult, especially if you're in a house when everything reminds you. And he introduced me to the drums. Now, here's the funny thing. I wasn't always a musician. I love music. I was always brought up with a steady dose of the Beatles and salsa and Motown. So that was never an issue, and my mom and dad would spend their time singing. But I was a baseball player. That was my life, And then when I got hurt, I still had the drums to back me off, which he introduced me to. And I started playing here and there, Wasn't anything special. And I did a lot of back vocals. And I was a late bloomer. I didn't really start singing professionally until I was 35. So it goes to show you age is nothing but a number. Yeah, so it's when I tell people that, they have that look on their face like they're flabbergasted, including myself, because you never would think. If you told me, Manny, when you're 45, you're going to be on The Voice, you're going to have a 4-chair turn, it's going to change your life, I'd be like, dude, seriously, what are you smoking? And share some with me, seriously, because it wouldn't even be a thought. But here I am, and it's just one of those journeys where it goes to show you just have to live in the moment, do the best that you can, and do the things that you love. And music has certainly been an internal part of my life that I've always appreciated.
Absolutely. And you can belt them out, man. I was watching some of your Instagram videos, and you got some pipes, like some serious, when you throw down, throw down, mister. Seriously, oh, wow.
Well, you know what? If you're singing Whitesnake, you better be able to throw down, or else don't sing Whitesnake. But, yeah, it's a music style that resonates very well with me. It's in my vocal register, and I feel comfortable. I'm not the best singer in the world. I've never believed that, and I was gifted with a talent. I just use it to the best of my ability. I'm just like you, Rob, and just like any other voice personality. I use my voice as best I can. I cultivate it. I spend endless hours making it better and progressing and just going over the things that improves your voice. It's like anything. It's like a muscle,
Absolutely. Okay, so Brenna, my assistant, is here, and she's looking at me, and she's like, have him sing something. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you can belt out something for Brenna, she would love that. I got a few people in the studio with me today, and they're like, have him sing something. So if you would grace us, if you would. Okay, all right. So go ahead and do your thing.
It's a new song. We do it as a cover. Here's a little Sam Smith in a more of a rock ride. Ready?
Yeah.
You and me, we made a vow, for better or for worse. I can't believe you let me down, but the truth is in the way it hurts. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know you're not the only one. Well, hope you like it.
Okay, they were pulling the lighters out and waving. They're doing the lighter thing.
I'll take it.
They're waving. So
take it. Nice.
That's a round of applause. Let me see. Hold on. I think. Here we go. They loved it. The crowd went wild. The crowd went wild, and they lit their lighters. So there you go.
You're too humbling, man. Thanks so much.
All right, so 45, you went on to The Voice. So let's talk about that transformation. So you had to make a decision, and then you had to plan for it, and then you had to break through all of your fears and take massive inspired action and press that submit button to The Voice. Did you do it via like a video audition, or how did it happen?
No, it was actually an online application. It was written, and, the waiting process was pretty stagnant. I didn't hear anything back till about 3 months. And it was really just like all of a sudden I'm on the plane, to California. And it was such a great journey. Yeah, but here's the thing, though, I got to tell you, Rob. It's a pretty fascinating story, because you would think that me getting on The Voice, it just propels you to that level of taking your vocal career seriously. It wasn't that at all. Like, I've always been a firm believer of living in the moment, just being grateful, have that attitude of gratitude, meeting people along the way and things. Basically just smile on everybody who needs it. So I always had that mentality. I wasn't worried about the end result. I wasn't worried about winning. What I realized that being on The Voice gave me my purpose. And my purpose was to utilize my voice and utilize all platforms to implement my ability, not just to sing, but to speak and influence people toward the positivity. That was it. That was the
Absolutely.
That was the biggest revelation for me. I created and I found my purpose on The Voice. There'd be times where I had about 40, 50 people, including parents, in my hotel room, teaching them how to meditate, how to live in the moment, how to not to worry about the 90 seconds where you're in front of 14 million people. Because what happens is, if you're focused on that, it'll pass you by. Focus on meeting all these incredibly talented people from across the country, the new friendships, the new networking, because we all know your network is your net worth. So you never know where these relationships are going to go. So I just basically transitioned their train of thought. That's what it was. But I enjoyed it so much, and I enjoyed it better than the actual performance itself.
Wow, that's good. Well, we are definitely kindred spirits, definitely in that.
Thank
and
you.
I'm all about living in present moment. And what a lot of people miss is they miss the experience. They're so worried about getting it over with, they miss that one thing. So I don't know if you know it, or not, I don't know if I mentioned offline, but I'm actually an ordained minister, and I marry people. And one of the things that I always have them stop and do, and I say, bride, groom, stop for a moment and breathe. I want you to feel your breath. I want you to feel your feet implanted on the ground. I want you to feel the energy from your spouse, your future spouse. I want you to remember this moment forever, because this moment will never be repeated. And people really need to stay in that present time, because right now in this crazy pandemic, there are people that are, they're so worried about the future and so panicked about the past, they're not living in the present moment. Like right now is right now, and right now we're still here. So live in that very present moment. So what are some tools and techniques that you do to stay in that present moment? You mentioned meditation, which I definitely do.
Yeah, you got to meditate, and always in the attitude of gratitude, because the reality is, when you persist. If you focus on the void, and let me tell you, I've suffered tremendously this year. I lost my dad. I lost 3 of my tours, big tours with Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the Wizards of Winter. I lost about $85,000 worth, and that's full transparency. So nobody can tell me I live like a rock star. It's been a hardship after hardship, and the trials and tribulations just piled up last year. But here's the thing. I could sit here and bellyache and focus on the void of what didn't happen, or I could start focusing on the future, because what you prepare now will create the future. So all I did was, I basically, and I'm preaching to the choir, I convoluted my mental prowess into thinking, all right, that's not working out. I got to figure something out. I became more resourceful, learned about 5 new pieces of software, improved my photography, found ways to teach online. So in these times, these are the moments that define who we are. And we forget that.
Absolutely.
Because you make a decision in life based on what? Inspiration or desperation? And I refuse to despair, but I always try to keep inspired, because it's the action that creates inspiration and not the other way around. You got to put forward some effort. And everyone wants to be famous. Everyone wants the millions. Everybody wants the recognition, but nobody wants to do the work. You got to do the work, because once you take that first step, you start revealing these other little trinkets and these other little roads that open up for you. Had you sat there stagnantly and done nothing, nothing would reveal itself. And that's the one thing that I learned. You would think it's common sense, but common sense is not common practice in today's society. That's why I made it a point to open people's eyes to this, because it's really simple to do, but so many fail, especially we musicians, and that's why I created Mojo for Musicians, for that same reason. I don't like seeing people quit on their dreams because they're scared.
Absolutely, and this has been a scary time. I mean, I will say that I have never been busier during this past year. I mean, let's see. I bought a radio show. I bought Life Transformation Radio. I have 5 podcasts that I host and produce.
I remember
Thank
you mentioned
you.
that's huge. Congratulations, man.
It's wonderful, and I love this platform. I love the guests that are coming forth, and I'm excited about, you being here today. I'm excited about all the guests that are coming up in the next, couple weeks and stuff. And, it's incredible. The thing is that you have to reinvent yourself, as you've done. Yeah. And it's, this is your opportunity. This is a great pause. This is a chance for you to be who you really want to be. It's a reset that we never, ever thought would happen, and you get to reinvent yourself.
Yeah, and I say this with a huge caveat. It's all about the consistency. Once you decide, because it all starts with the decision of deciding to make that change, you have to commit to it. It's a daily practice. You create this compartmentalized life of schedulizing what it is that you need to do. Because you got to remember, I went on The Voice, but then again, I did it in Spanish for NBC's La Voz. So I did it twice. So it goes to show you it's not a coincidence. Awesome. If you keep your plan of action and you uphold that regiment and stay consistent, good things happen, period.
Absolutely. All right, so you have an album. Is it an album or a single? What's happening? You have something coming up really soon, like tomorrow or the next day. What's going on?
Yeah, tomorrow. This whole summer I've got stuff going on. Well, it's been 5 years since my last EP, and Pharrell Williams actually gave me the impetus to title it, and it was Stratospheric. That's the last thing I released, which won multiple awards. Tomorrow I've got a huge single. I've got a Grammy Award-winning engineer, good friend of mine, Earl Cohen, some killer people on the album, players that have performed. The title is Worst Bad Decision, and I'm very big on message song. It's for all the ladies and the lovers of the world. It's an empowering song, and think of me as your conscience trying to deter you from making the next worst bad decision. It's a beautiful song. I think it's going to do great. If you love Aerosmith, Daughtry, all the classic rocks, Elton John's, believe me, you're going to love it. And we're all excited.
Absolutely. So they can find it on Spotify, I would imagine? Can they find it on iTunes? Where can they find it? Everywhere, iTunes. Everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. I've got 15 radio interviews and 11 podcast interviews, so it's definitely going to get a lot of promotions. The editorial playlists are loving it on Spotify. So, again, I did something right, but it goes to show you if you put forth a positive message, good things happen. You know that, Rob.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now you have the big release tomorrow. What happens after tomorrow? What does the future hold for Mr. Manny Cabo?
Well, just like you, I'm always in hustle mode, and I'm building my podcast. And I just found out, I did radio for a while, but I just started the podcast, Mojo for Musicians. I'm actually already into season 2, and you know how much work it takes to do a successful podcast. All the visuals, all the scripting. Yeah, notice the laugh, evidenced by the chuckle, right? So it's a lot of work, but yeah, exactly. And I was being extremely facetious, so I'm glad you picked up on that. So I've been graced with so many incredible artists, from Emmy award-winning directors, bestsellers, that I've been interviewing and just offering tons of value to the musical community. I just realized, and I was informed, I'm in the top 2%, and not bad for 4 weeks into it. I'm up to 1,000 downloads. Hey, it's not a lot, but it's something. And hopefully it'll start propelling and just keep getting the positivity and the messages of inspiration for my fellow musicians globally. So, yeah, I'm working on that, plus another 5 song releases, and let's get some normalcy back. I can't wait to get some live performances, and I've been doing Facebook Lives thus far, so that's been paying off pretty well. So again, just trying to stay busy and be resourceful and get my creativity out there.
Yeah, that's the one thing, is that people don't realize it was a whole ecosystem of live What are you, cleaning your garage? What are you doing? What are you doing there?
No, I
You doing yard work?
No idea. No, not at all.
Oh, I got to hear all this. That's you, man. That's you. Sitting still. Sit still. Sit still, man. God, here I'm talking emotionally, breaking tears out of my eyes. But what I said. All right, Manny, sit, stay. So what I was saying was, people don't realize that there's a giant ecosystem about live entertainment, and there's so many people. Right. So there's all the musicians, there's all the people that are the studio musicians, there's all the recording engineers, there's all the tech people, there's all the marketing people. Like, all those people, they are not working right now. So like, as a voice actor, and I do lots of national commercials, all the recording studios were closed. I'm fortunate that I have a recording studio in my house, and so I've been very, very busy and able to pick up a lot of slack for people because I have the equipment and the booth and everything, and it's top tier. Not everybody has that, and it's really changed what's going on. So a lot of people have lost out on a lot of opportunities because they don't have those resources. And so a lot of voice talents are in the same space as a lot of musicians. And it's just all of a sudden it was at one day, and then the next day it's not, and all the event staff. So, you know, I do speaking, and so I was booked for the next year on all these stages. Well, all those event planners, I have a friend, Samara Hurley. She's a giant event planner, and all those giant events don't happen. The production designers, the production team. So, you know, people don't really think. They just think, oh, restaurants are closed. There's a lot of people that just can't work out of their home. And this is one industry that my heart has gone out to. There was some, you know, bring up Clubhouse, and that's where I met you, is that there were some fundraisers, and it was for the crew of concerts, the concert crew, the stagehands. All those people have families to feed. And so there was a fundraiser for them, and that was a beautiful thing. And so the fact that you're working for musicians, and a lot of it is the mental health, this is very draining on your mental health, because you have been doing something for so long, and now you can't do it, and this is what you know. It's a very big toll on your mindset and your mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. It's uncharted territory for everyone, because it's like, you know, the rug has been swept under your feet. I'm a guitar player, I'm a singer, I'm a drummer, and I'm not doing that. You know, I'm practicing in my home, but I'm not generating any income. So it's completely a new world, and it's sometimes surreal, but the reality is it's very, very scary. So that's where I come in. I'm like, guys, listen, there's plenty of empathy on my part. I'm dealing with it the same way, and it's okay.
Right.
But once you start to panic, you know how it goes. You go into that little rabbit hole, and you start spiraling downward, and sometimes it's hard to get you out of there. So I'm basically trying to prevent tons of musicians from going to that place and letting them know we'll soon be out of it, but we need to figure out what else you can do in the meantime. And there's plenty of ways that musicians can make money now, but I'm just trying to introduce all of them to it, you know, whether it's doing lives or Patreon, or, you know, you got to get your face out there. And not for nothing, technology, the advent of technology, huge. We need to implement our devices. There's people that run an entire business off their cell phone. So believe me, it's doable, but you got to face the fear, you know, and we all know fear is just false evidence appearing real. It's an illusion. It's not real. It's our limiting beliefs, and we keep repeating that to the point where now we're convinced that things aren't going to turn around, that I'm not doing anything, my career is a failure. And it's not that way. You know, it's not. So I'm trying to slam on the brakes on that mentality. Nothing more, nothing less, Rob.
Well, I think it's spectacular. I really do. And, you know, not only are you a singer, but you're also a photographer. Like, tell me about that. So tell me a little bit. You had to have just a few great stories of some incredible artists that you photographed.
Yeah, man. You know, throughout my career, I've pretty much covered the spectrum, you know, from landscapes to working with magazines, record labels, you know, abstracts, you name it. It's just, I love capturing moments in time. It's a topic that always fascinated me. And once again, my dad introduced me to my first Minolta X700 manual camera. And ever since that day, I haven't stopped photographing. And, you know, started with my sister, who was a model, and then I transitioned into, you know, ballet dancers, and slowly it flourished into other areas. And now I just master in musicians, and my whole philosophy is I photograph artists like it's the front cover of Rolling Stone. Again, that mentality that every one of us is a winner. We all have a unique talent to offer this world, and my job is just to capture it. That's it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, Manny, I really want to thank you. I know you have to get marketing and your release is tomorrow. So just say a little bit more about your release. So it's going to be available on iTunes and Spotify. And tell me the name of the song so we can all look it up, because I definitely want to support
Absolutely.
you and your launch.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was co-written by a great friend of mine who's a well-established, award-winning songwriter, Bonnie Warren, out of Philadelphia. The title of the track is called Worst Bad Decision. It's a powerful message about self-empowerment and respecting yourself and never settling. So that's basically the message behind it, and it will be on all streaming platforms, iTunes, YouTube, you name it. It's international publishing. Yeah, and there's going to be plenty more. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 more releases after that. So I'm pretty busy with the music, and I'm really, really excited to unleash it to the world, because they're all involving powerful messages. The next one is actually, you know what? I'm going to mention it anyway. I'm not supposed to, but it's my song, and it's called Remember You. It's a tribute to anyone who lost someone during COVID, and it was a tough song for me to sing. Wow. I broke down many, many a time in the studio. I'm telling you, it's rough. And I don't know how I got the chutzpah to finish the song, but when all was said and done, we're extremely proud of it. It's an emotionally attached song, and it's my tribute to my dad for showing me the proper ways to be in this world, and hopefully when I leave this planet, I leave it better than when I got here as well.
I love it. All right, so tell me the story of – I love having a studio audience. They're like, ask him this, ask him this. They're like asking all these notes.
Sure, man.
Your
Bring
song
it.
tomorrow
Bring it.
Your song tomorrow is called
Worst Bad Decision.
All right. So how did this song come about? How did you create Worst Bad Decision?
You know, great question. You know, it's one of those things where so many anecdotes and so many periods of my life, you know, being a photographer focusing in glamour, obviously you meet a lot of very attractive females and males. And so you'd be surprised, some of the more attractive people in this world are also the most insecure people in this world. And I've seen so many relationships, abusive relationships, and I'm not talking about physical, you know, verbal, you know, playing with people's emotions, and so many relationships that have settled. They have settled for something less than what they're worth. And that's the message I'm trying to convey. People, take a step back. That's why I pretend I'm your conscience in this song, telling you, don't do it. This is not for you. You know it's not for you. Take a step back, walk away. And those are actually lines from the song. When you hear it, trust me, Rob, you're going to love it. It's I put my heart and soul into it, just like I put anything else. But it's on the same caliber. Like I said, I've got some killer people, killer players on the record. And it's very influenced by, you know, that old classic Aerosmith, Elton John, Billy Joel, you know, the big powerhouses of yesteryear. So it's definitely going to resonate with the commercial radio realm.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I'll tell you a quick story about Billy Joel concert. So a long time ago, I was an usher at the sports arena in San Diego, California, and I was late. So I was on the radio back then. I was late. I got stuck in traffic. I just couldn't get out, and I was late. And there was one job left, and I remember the guy, Otto, and he's like, dude, you're late again. I'm going to give you the crappiest job for being late. I'm like, okay, I'm your best usher. He goes, oh, you're going to hate this job. You're going to stand in one place, and all you're going to do is stare and make sure that no one sits in these seats. And I'm like, okay, well, all right. So he waited. So I wasn't even with the regular team. So Billy Joel, I'm a big Billy Joel fan. If you remember, he had beautiful Christy Brinkley in his life at a time.
Of course.
And I stood at the front of the stage on the floor, right in front of these chairs that were marked. And there was no one there. And all I was doing was telling no one they could sit there. And then right as the concert was about to start, this incredibly beautiful woman walks down right next to me and sits down. And my job was to stare at Christy Brinkley all night. It was just unbelievable. She was so sweet. I talked to her for a little bit. and it was just so great. She just sat there by herself. At one time, she had a girlfriend join her, and it was just one of my most amazing. It was just a great time. It was just so
I'm sure
cool.
it was.
I loved it. I don't even think I heard the concert. What's that?
I said both on an audio and visual level. You were doing pretty well.
she really is gorgeous, and she would just So, all right.
Good for you. Good for you.
Manny, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. If you want to reach Manny, you can do it at mannycabo.com, on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest. It's all at The Manny Cabo. And you can find him on Clubhouse. You can actually talk to him. He's such a great guy. And you can reach him on Clubhouse. What's your handle on Clubhouse there, Mr. Manny?
It's the same. I keep it all seamless. It's The Manny Cabo.
All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it, man. You're the best. And when you do reach out to Manny, hey, let him know that you listened to this episode of Life Transformation Radio. And be sure to check him out on Spotify, iTunes, and so much more. Hey, thank you, Manny. Really appreciate you being here. Really.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been an honor sharing the
Hey, everybody.
Brother.
You got it, brother. Thank you so much for your support and taking the time out of your busy and precious day to listen to Life Transformation Radio. We so appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me, along with my guest, Manny Cabo, to touch your heart, move your soul, and inspire you to live a life of transformation. This is Rob Actis. Until next time.
This is Life Transformation Radio. Download complete.